All systems go. Clear for liftoff.
What's going on? Go Collect, Little Neck, Sean, Remo, Mr. Mike's Daddy, Wins a Lot, Jordan, Bills Mafia, Paraby, Little Neck. That is it so far. My man Rio, we got 4 games on DraftKings, 6 games on FanDuel. We will talk a little FanDuel at the end after we get through these first 4 games. We have 4 of them locking within an hour. You see 7 Eastern. 2 games at 7:30, 1 game at 8, and then there's a 2.5-hour window, 10:30 Eastern, Lakers and the Utah Jazz, Phoenix Suns and Portland at 11 Eastern. That is on the FanDuel slate. They do have a solid $5 contest, almost 60,000 people in it. If you want to spread it out a little bit, but mainly we'll be talking DraftKings. We'll talk those 2 games after. How we doing today, Rio?
Yeah, we're doing pretty good. I might have to jump into the FanDuel streets today.
I shouldn't have told you.
But I mean, those are the 2 best games on the slate tonight, and they're not even on the DraftKings slate. I don't mind having these shorter slates. A lot of the times, frees up a lot of time at the end of the night to go to the gym or whatever. But I'll probably just be taking a nap during that time. I'm a little sick right now, so catching up on some sleep. But yeah, doing pretty good. My Utah Jazz looking really good right now.
You and Bills Mafia both. No, I don't think he has COVID, but yeah, a little under the weather. Is Rio over there? Yeah, your Utah Jazz looking pretty good. My Bucks not looking as good as the start. I mean, Kuzma, man, he had that 160-pointer or whatever, crazy stuff.
And then what do you do the next game?
I know, literally had like 1 at half, and he was chalked the night before or something. He had the 60 piece. I mean, I saw people tilting Kuzma in the Discord, whether he does good or bad. It just isn't good.
That's the most Kyle Kuzma stat line, to go for 60 and then 1 the next game.
So good, so good. Perfect time for the second or third. There you go. Who goes to the gym nowadays? Come on, Jordan. You better be going to the gym. Your old picture, I didn't forget it. It's muscles the size of your girl's head right there. Get that picture back. The beach in the background. Come on. Anthony's in here. Gang Green in here. Jazz making the playoffs, Rio?
No, I don't think so. This upcoming draft is just so loaded. I think it'd be a really poor idea for them to try to be competitive this year. Like, they're not winning, so you might as well just tank a little bit towards the end of the season and try to get a top 3 pick. Because I don't know if you've watched a lot of college hoops lately, but man, there's some like really good talent coming out next year.
For sure. My buddy Wes, you met Wes. He's been texting me. He loves, just because he goes, the NIL changed everything. These Europeans and stuff coming over. He goes, college is so fun right now. I mean, just seeing Boozer, grown-ass man playing against kids. Yeah, do you agree that I don't know where I saw it, but Flag would be a 6th pick in the draft or something if he came? Yeah, that's wild.
That's such an overreaction. Like, yeah, he's not even 19 years old yet, and he's putting up solid stat lines against grown-ass men. He would definitely be the number 1 overall pick, I think.
Yeah, I mean, the Olympic too, when he was playing against the Olympic team and he was hooping on them, I forgot where I saw that, but that was absolutely crazy. I agree. Philly Phantom in here. Good to see you. Ken Linen in here. Ricky in here as well. I think I said hi to everybody. Again, 4 games on tap. All we ask is the like button, subscribe button. Helps us out a ton. Any broad slate overview for you, Rio? First thing I look at is the pricing. We have 11K. Kate Cunningham on DraftKings. Then the next highest is 9.5K. So if you're not playing Cade, who will be pretty low owned, you are forced into a middling build.
Yeah, I mean, we talk about a lot on these shorter slates that you can definitely get into game stacking a little bit. Some pretty solid games to stack up. I like that Detroit-Atlanta game, but it is going to be pretty hard to get into the Detroit side with those questionable tags potentially returning. But I think that the Memphis-San Antonio game is going to be one that we for sure try to get into. But, yeah, I mean, there's a lot of injury news in that second game, so you definitely got to wait for it. But I don't know. The last time we did a Tuesday show, I think it was another 4-game slate. That one was a lot better than this one.
All right. Yeah. I mean, we're always honest about it. Take that for what it's worth. I'm still in the streets. Rio's still in the streets. There's still a lot of money to be made in good contests, but let's go game by game. Again, like button, subscribe button helps us out a ton. game by game, and then we will touch on the 2 FanDuel games after. First game of the night, Golden State Warriors and the Orlando Magic. 3.5-point favorites are the Warriors. 223.5 total in this one. Injuries on the Golden State side. Kuminga is out for Golden State. On the Orlando side, no Paulo. Jalen Suggs questionable. So if there is no Jalen Suggs, it would be Anthony Black. Do you think that is the case? Take it away then, Orlando and the Warriors.
Yeah, it would definitely be Black getting the start. I'm not really too sure how severe the injury is for Suggs, but he did miss the last game. So definitely is pretty meaningful in this slate because I would like Anthony Black a good bit. And I also don't really mind Tristan Da Silva. He's getting priced up, but he's played really well lately. And there's a lot of chalk forming in that same range in the Spurs game. I don't really think that he should be a quarter or 30% less owned than Julian Champagny personally, even for being a little bit more expensive. So those would be the guys I'm kind of looking to for value. But I definitely think that getting to at least one of Franz, Bane, or whoever would start for Suggs if he's in or out is a pretty good idea. Franz definitely is going to be the guy I'm most interested in at 8,700. I think the matchup's okay. Golden State's kind of, meh defensively right now, but he has been leading the team in usage in the last 2 games with Paulo out, and would definitely be a guy that I look to if Suggs were to miss. But I think the Warriors side is pretty easy to get away from. You could make the case for Steph because he still does have upside. Going to be really low owned. I'm coming off of a really bad game, but he had 2 really strong games before that against San Antonio with back-to-back 40 balls. So I definitely wouldn't mind him. And it is a pretty good matchup, even with Suggs in or out. Like the Orlando's been a team that always gives up a lot of volume to pick and roll heavy guards. Not really Steph's game, but he can still get it going there. So I think that he'd be the guy I look to on the Warriors side. But yeah, really not too excited about this game as a whole. I think that every other game is probably better.
All right. I really do not have much more to add. Ownership-wise, when you sort by this game, again, I have the average of Ship It Nation and SaberSim. You do get that on the starter package or above. You get SaberSim. You get 2 sets of projections and ownership. So I'm taking the average. 23%, the highest owned player in this game, which we have is Franz. And then, a couple others below. But the Suggs stuff, if there is no Jalen Suggs, Black probably the best play in this game. Franz gets a little bump. Moody, you're not playing Moses Moody, are you?
I'm not.
What's up, Jake?
I think he hit 7 threes in 1 quarter last game. I'm not really trying to chase that. I like Moody, but these guys, I don't know who's doing the pricing for the Warriors, but these guys are all very, very expensive. And just
5,700. It's a big boy price. All right, let's keep it rolling. Next game of the slate: Detroit Pistons and the Atlanta Hawks. 1.5-point favorites are the Hawks. 229.5 total. Injuries in this one on the Detroit side. Yeah, you mentioned at the top, big injury news. Cade, Tobias, Azure Thompson, all questionable. Karis LeVert is out. Atlanta side, Porzingis, Okongwu, Ricochet, questionable. Trae Young out. Did I just nail that on the first time in 2025? There we go. Let's go. Anyone, longtime listeners know Ricochet was someone I struggled with 3/4 of the year last year.
Yeah.
He actually became relevant for a little bit, so let's
we
go.
We got to work on the Asar Thompson one though.
Asar Thompson, not Azure Thompson. All right, Asar Thompson. There you go. That one's easy and should stick. What do we got in this one? A lot of good plays, it seems.
Yes, I think just for tonight's slate, you're probably starting with a lot of guys in that Memphis and San Antonio game, and then waiting for news in this one because it's really big. Like we know who we're going to go to if Cade were to miss. We haven't really got a lot of word on that yet. I would imagine that with like Asar and Tobias getting upgraded to questionable, that one of those guys returns. I think it's a little bit less likely that it's Tobias because his ankle injury was pretty severe and they didn't really have a timetable for him. So I wouldn't think that they're going to rush him back. But Asar's he's been doing a lot of on-court stuff pre-game. I think that he's pretty close. So he's probably back tonight. But I don't really know about Cade yet. So I do want to wait for this because I want to go right back to Dennis Jenkins if Cade were to be out. I mean, he's been really, really good in Cade's absence. I think that he's definitely earned minutes even when Cade does return. But he's essentially had the same exact role as Cade. You look at all the potential assists and the drives and the touch time and all that stuff. It's exactly what Cade was doing just for $5,000 cheaper. So I would definitely want to prioritize him if Cade were to be out. But if all these guys are in, I don't really see a need to get super deep into the Detroit side. I wouldn't mind going to Jalen Duren, and it would definitely be plus in his favor if Okongwu or Kristaps Porzingis were to miss, or if both of them miss, then we're looking at guys like Mo Gay and Asa Newell that'd be matched up with Duren, and he's just been He's probably the best center in the East right now, I would say. Do you have an opinion on that? It's kind of like him and Bam and then everybody else.
No, yeah. I mean, I was showing my buddy who doesn't watch basketball the game log because he used to watch it and stuff. He's like, whole 7,700. I was like, what do you think Duran's price is? He's like 55. And then we went through. I mean, he's been insane.
Yeah, he's crushing it this year. I'd love to see it. And he's still super young. So it's really, really cool to see him kind of expand his game a lot. But I think that he'd be
playing.
Yeah.
I mean, last
10
year,
straight
Beasley,
wins.
They were close with Bees. I mean, you know what I mean? They played the Knicks tough. That team can play.
Yeah. I mean, if something's worked out in their favor in the playoffs differently, then who knows what would have happened. But yeah, I mean, they're a really, really fun team, like what they got going on over there. But I think that if all these guys were to be in, Duran's probably the only guy that I'm really looking to get to. I just think that it's a little too expensive to pay up for Cade, even with the value plays that we have in the slate. I just don't think they're really going to be running him out there for 38 minutes tonight with how well that Dennis Jenkins has played. So that's probably it for the Detroit side. For the Atlanta side, I feel like Ricochet is probably the guy that's most likely to miss. I don't know if you saw how he got injured, but he had like a fast break dunk and then did one of those things where he held on a little bit too long. And then it looked pretty bad and went to the locker room right away after that. So yeah, we'd have to see, but we'll be able to move things around enough to where we can get into this game with all the value plays in Memphis and San Antonio. Start there, then pivot onto some of these guys. I think Jalen Johnson is the clear guy that I'm looking to right now. If all these guys were to be in, just playing really well, has had a great role with Trey off the court this season, leading the team in usage, assist numbers and rebounding is all up there. Averages 1.47 fantasy points per minute. Tough matchup. He does like to get to the rim a lot. Detroit has been one of the better rim defenses in the league this season, but I still think that he does enough of everything else to be viable. Coming off of a triple-double 2 games ago, definitely like him a lot as a spend-up. And that'd probably be it. But if these guys are out, like if one of or two of Okongwu and Porzingis miss, then we're looking at like Mo Gay and Austin Newell. I think both those guys would be in play. And then if Ricochet misses, it would probably be Vit Krejci again in the starting lineup. I don't know if you really need to go there. I might prefer him as a pivot to Julian Champagnie because I just don't really want to play a 50% owned player like that. And he would be a clear and easy pivot at the same price, same positional stuff. But right now, I think it's just Jalen Johnson for me on the Atlanta side.
Oh, I always love playing Jalen Johnson. And yeah, like you said, if all of Detroit somehow was ruled in, you said Duran's the only interesting one. And I do have it sorted by value point per dollar, and you can see he's the only one even close to 5x, which makes sense. But with all these Q tags, it can change a lot. But we'll like the Golden State and Orlando game, you talked about it, not very appealing. If you are playing like one of Steph, Bane, whatever it is, like you have enough spots to move it around. It by no means is a game you're going to jam. So we'll have time to react to this injury news. FanDuel, DraftKings on both. And that's where the slate really will start on both sites, what these Q tags do. If all these guys are in, then yeah, we're at these next 2 games, especially on DraftKings, will be mega chalk. And then yeah, we'll get to FanDuel in a little bit. Nothing else there. I mean, we'll get to Jaren Jackson later. Has anyone been more disappointing than Jaren Jackson? I mean, oh my goodness.
Yeah, I don't know what's going on there. It's been rough for him and in Memphis, really.
Yeah.
Also, do you even consider Cat a center? I feel like he's a power forward now.
I don't know. How much Mitrop started a little bit and Cat started at the 4, but then they go back to Cat at the 5. How have they been running it?
I think that Mitrop is the guy that's starting alongside him when he's healthy.
When he's healthy. So then, yeah, I mean, it has to be a 4. He definitely doesn't play like a traditional 5 like we're talking, the defensive side of the ball. But I mean, it's Wardo. What do you expect? It could have been Ersan Ilyasova as their starting 5, and he's saying Ersan. Come on. All right. Well, we'll keep it moving again. 2 games down, 2 games to go. The Q tags in that one are very big. Next game on the slate, Boston Celtics, Brooklyn Nets. 10.5 point favorites are the Celtics. 223.5 total. Injuries on this one, nothing on the Boston side, nothing on the Brooklyn side. I mean, Cam Thomas still remains to be out. I want him to come back. I always like playing Cam Thomas. The thing is, I don't know how Cam Thomas and Michael Porter Jr. are going to go together. There's only one ball on the court. They don't like sharing it very much. But speaking of MPJ, he's been a monster. There's no denying that. He is filling up the stat sheets, even in tough matchups. But at least you admit it, Wardo. I like it. What are we doing in this one? Celtics and the Nets.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot to like about the Celtics side here. Always like attacking this Brooklyn defense. They just give up points at will, pretty much all over the place. But they're dead last in or bottom four in rim defense, dead last in transition defense. They're first in pick and roll defense, which is kind of what they do. If you watch any Brooklyn game, they're going to be putting two guys on the ball whenever they try to run a pick and roll. So it leaves open these secondary shooters a lot. The Celtics don't really run a lot of pick and roll. It's a lot of like dribble handoff, just launching from deep. So I don't think that it's going to matter too much here. But I really like the spot for. I mean, the guys you're considering are Jaylen Brown, Derek White, and Pritchard. You probably don't want more than two of them. I don't think that you'll get three of them with the way that they're priced up. But I do think that we get a really strong game from one of or two of these guys. I think that the pricing probably gets you on Pritchard the most because he's 6.3K. Also been playing really well. There's a couple beat writers I've been following for the Celtics, and he's always just like he's very honest about the way he's playing, and he's like, I'm just playing like crap, so I wanted to kind of turn it around. But he's been shooting really well lately. 5 threes 2 games ago, 8 threes the game prior. I like him a lot, 6.3K. I think that's a really, really good price tag for him. And then I would look to Jaylen Brown next. I think that the matchup is probably the best for Jaylen Brown, leading the team in transition scoring and usage and all the tracking stats. So I like him a good bit. But I also think Derek White, like he's 7.2K, actually starting to shoot the ball well now. Yeah, I mean, you could – all these guys are really good. I just don't – I don't see how you don't play one of them tonight probably.
What about the minutes? Like, is that an accurate projection on Brown and White? That feels a little light, unless they're baking in some blowout potential, which I guess at 10.5. But I mean, if this game's somewhat competitive, 33 feels pretty light.
Yeah, I mean, I think so too. I just don't know if Brooklyn can hang around. So I think that it is baking in the blowout, but like you just said, like that is kind of light because they have been running things really tight lately, and it's been Anthony Simons that's kind of benefited in a negative way. He's not really seen as many minutes as he was earlier. They're really running things tight, so I think that they are kind of light, but I feel like this game is probably more likely to blow out than not. But yeah, that would get me on to like I like Keita and Jordan Walsh as well as pivots in that like 5K, 4K range. Jordan Walsh should continue to start. The bottom could fall out for him quickly, but it's a good spot. He's played 33 minutes, then been around 30 in the other games that he started. So I think that he's pretty solid as a pivot off of Champagny as well. But I really like the spot for Keita. The Nets are giving up the 4th most rim points, like I mentioned up top, but they're also a bottom 3 rebounding team. Keita's been right around 30 minutes in close games and even got up to 16 field goal attempts last time out. So kind of arrow pointing up in a pretty good way for him. I do like attacking Nick Claxton in the front court for the Nets, so he would be a guy I'm also looking to get some of. And then, yeah, MPJ is probably the only one for me. Like maybe MPJ and Zaire are the 2 guys I'm considering on Brooklyn. For MPJ, it's just because his usage has been so good with Cam off the court. But even the last few games, he's starting to put up some pretty strong assist numbers. I think if you're playing MPJ, you probably want to get like 1 or 2 Boston pieces because I don't know if he's going to get there in a blowout. But we've seen in some really close games him put up some really solid score, has multiple 50-point games in his range of outcomes recently. So I do think that he's pretty solid as a correlated piece with some of these Boston guys. I don't really like the matchup for Claxton. He's been doing really well against teams that he should do well against, like Washington and Toronto. But then you see the game against Orlando, a team that kind of plays similar defensive style to the Celtics, only 27 DK points there. So I think he's more matchup-based play than just like a high-confidence play. And then, yeah, like I said, Zaire at 3.9K is a pretty solid tag. He's been playing 30-plus minutes in each of the last 2 games. They're running things a little tighter over there.
Someone mentioned Luka Garza. I mean, is that like there's just not enough to spend on, it feels like. Is that kind of your take as well? If it was the stars and scrubs, like if we actually had guys you really wanted to jam in, Luka, Giannis, or whatever, a little less mid-tier value, it feels a little thin on this late. But I guess if you're playing the blowout route, I mean, he could get there, and he's still going to score points and get rotation in normal time. So I guess maybe in certain lineups, what's your thoughts?
Yeah, I think the same thing. Like if you really, I don't think you're going to need to go that cheap, and there are some pretty solid center options tonight. But he was a guy that was on my radar because we know that he's a really good per minute player, and you do have the added potential like blowout for him to see maybe 5 or 6 more minutes than usual. So I don't hate it, but you probably don't need it.
Interesting to note on FanDuel, Cornet will be pretty popular. Like Keita and Cornet are pretty much the same price. Both will get some ownership. I do think Cornet will be a little higher owned. So a little pivot there as well. Can only play 1 center. Obviously on FanDuel, you can play 2 on DraftKings. And I think a decent amount of lineups will play 2 centers today. When we get to Cornette, we'll talk about that. Kate is fine. Some people will play Claxton. Wendell Carter, I think, is pretty cheap. So some builds will definitely go 2 centers. All right. Wow. Garcia, did he mean Garza? He fouled out in 8 minutes. That's tough if that's what he means.
When was that against Washington? Because like he's been playing mid-teens in each of the last like 5 or 6 games.
No. Sunday I think I played NBA, but I don't really follow NBA too much on Sunday. It's definitely a lot more NFL. All right, we'll keep it rolling. We have 3 games left to talk about. Last game on DraftKings here. Then we're going to talk some FanDuel, the Memphis Grizzlies, and the San Antonio Spurs. Let me refresh. DraftKings, we're looking at a 5.5 point favorites are the Spurs, 234.5 total in this one. Injuries on the Spurs side. No Wemby, no Castle, and that is it there. On the – man, I'm struggling on this laptop now. On the Memphis side, we are looking at no Ja Morant, and that is the only injury news there. No doubt this game will get a lot of ownership. You mentioned Champagnie, Vince Williams, 2 of the chalkiest guys on the slate. Like, that's why Luka Garza, he's just a lot more of a thin play than Champagnie and Williams. The money it saves you isn't really worth it because we only have one guy priced above 10K. My question to you before you break down this game is, what does like Vince Williams and Champagnie ownership do if we get like Cade ruled out and like Porzingis or something? If the value opens in that game, how much does it affect the Spurs, like Williams and Champagnie, or do you think they're chalk regardless of the outcome?
I feel like Vince Williams is probably going to see a lot of ownership regardless, but I could see some going away from Champagnie, maybe in the favor of like Vic Krejci, if it's the Atlanta stuff, and then Detroit. I mean, I don't know. Detroit's priced up, so you're probably not getting like a ton of ownership going there other than Dennis Jenkins. But I think that Vince is pretty safe. Like I imagine he's going to be the highest on play on the slate regardless.
Gotcha. Yeah, break down this game. It's not only those 2 showing ownership. It's plenty. Like I mentioned, yeah. Luke Cornette on both sides, De'Aaron Fox, take it away.
Yeah, I mean, it's supposed to be a really fun matchup, Ja versus Wemby, but and Castle too. But now we're going to see, Vince Williams, Luke Cornette, De'Aaron Fox, Jaren Jackson. Much less appealing game, but still one you're going to have to get into with all the value. There's been 2 games that Ja has missed this season. We've seen Vince Williams kind of get the start at point guard, which is kind of odd. But they do have a guy, Jemai Mayshak. I'm sure that Little Neck probably knows who that is, but he played pretty well in the summer league. They might try to get him some minutes tonight, but I think that Vince is probably the best or the second best value play in the slate at 4K, assuming that he's going to be starting at point guard. He's averaging 24 DraftKings points in just 23 minutes with Ja out in 2 games this season, but I think that he's pretty safe regardless. I'm struggling to pay 8K for Jaren Jackson right now. I mean, he's just really struggling on offense and not really doing like a lot of the rebounding stuff. And then you add in Zach Edey back, so there's going to be less rebounding opportunities for him. And he's not really cheap. Like 8K is a big boy price tag for him to pay off. He is a guy that should benefit hypothetically with Ja out, but we haven't really seen it. I think the matchup's okay. It's a lot better now with Wemby out. Won't really have the same type of rim protection on the Spurs side. I don't know. He's all right. Like I could be persuaded to play him because I do think that he does have some upside still. But I mean, it just hasn't really shown it this season. I think Santi Aldama is probably the second best option on the Spurs or on the Grizzlies side tonight. He topped 30 DK points in 4 straight games, and he's going to for sure benefit from a minute standpoint with Ja out. He's averaging just under 1 fantasy point per minute, which is pretty solid for 5.5K. So I like him the second best behind Vince Williams. And I don't really think that I like much else. Like Edey played 25 minutes in his first game back. Maybe he gets up to like 28, and it would be it is a much better spot with Wemby out. But I think that you're really just kind of focusing on Vince and Santi tonight. Like maybe you could play the Cam Spencer game as a leverage off of Vince Williams. I don't think that you really need to go there, but he would be a guy that could benefit if things go bad for Vince. On the Spurs side, it's obviously going to be De'Aaron Fox as probably the best mid-tier play in the entire slate at 8.3K. He's starting to play a lot better as well. And with Wemby and Castle out there, that's about 31 and 25% usage rate that has to go somewhere else. Fox is going to be the clear beneficiary there, but he's coming off of 2 double-doubles, 50 DK points in back-to-back games. I'm fine playing him at ownership. I think it's a good matchup. The Memphis Grizzlies do allow a good amount of pick and roll and transition scoring, so there's a lot working in his favor here. So I think that he's really good. Had a really, really solid role last game out with Castle and 1B out 7.7 minutes of touch time, 14 potential assists. So yeah, I think he's a pretty clear core play tonight. And then Luke Cornett would be the next guy I'm really prioritizing, 5.4K. We know that he's always been a really good permanent guy. 35 DK points in 28 minutes last time out with the double-double. I think he's probably the second best value play on the slate behind Vince Williams. And then, yeah, like the Champagne stuff, like I said, I think I'm going to try to find ways to get away from that. I think that there's probably two ways you could do it, and that would be to play Keldon or Harrison Barnes. I don't think – well, Keldon just got a pretty big bump in ownership, so he won't really be the leverage play. But Harrison Barnes, like, he's been shooting the ball really well this season. Hypothetically should also take on a little bit more usage, but nobody's going to play him at 5.1K. Different position eligibility, but I still think that he's got like 30 DraftKings points within his range of outcomes, which I think would be pretty good spot to leverage Champagne, but I'm just trying to find ways to get away from him. And then Kelly Olynyk, surprisingly, was second on the team in potential assists last game and actual assists. He had 8 real assists, 12 potentials. So, yeah, I mean, he's going to play a solid role, probably 20-ish minutes off the bench at 3.8K. I probably would prefer him to Luka Garza. I don't know if I really want to play Cornett and Kelly. I mean, you're probably getting all the 7 minutes there, but I would rather like try to not pair them together because they do negatively correlate. Yeah, I think that's it. Oh, and then Devin Vassell, another guy that's going to benefit with all the injuries. Like he's a kind of a pay up to be contrarian option.
I mean, how many Spurs is too many? I'm definitely fine playing 3.
Yeah.
Champagne, Fox, Olynyk, Cornett. I mean, can you throw Vassell in there or your Barnes or something, or is it getting a little too much?
That might be a little too much. I think 3 is probably the sweet spot. I do see some optimals with 4, but that's with Champagne. So, like, I don't know if I really want more than 2 of the Vassell, Champagne, Keldon, Barnes grouping.
Okay.
Just kind of thinking through things like how that would work.
3 seems good. The Jaren Jackson price on FanDuel for sure. I mean, that's really tough to get away from. But no, ownership's going to be really high over there. He very well might be the highest owned play on the slate on FanDuel.
That's always where you want to play him too on FanDuel because he does have the stock upside. Yeah,
he's also power forward eligibility as well, not just center. So a lot going for Jaren Jackson on FanDuel. With that being said, though, sometimes we talk about like 4-game slate's a lot different than an 8 or 9-game slate in NBA. You're overspending on DraftKings, but you're getting way less ownership. Again, I just talked shit about him a couple of games ago because he's literally shown nothing this year in terms of upside, but it's still pretty early in the NBA season. We've seen a pretty large sample of him last year in times where he can absolutely go off if it's not for foul trouble. So without Ja, I'm definitely not going to exclude him from my pool. I definitely prefer Kelly Olynyk to Garza. Also, just the leverage off of Cornett it offers. Kate is going to get some ownership, but I do think Cornett higher owned on both sites. Yeah, I believe Rio says that every single slate, right? You max 2 of the 3.
Yeah, I think the smaller it gets, though, you probably don't need to be as restrictive. I would just think that if you're playing 3 of those guys, like how do they hit? It's probably in a game environment that's close and high scoring, so you probably would want like MPJ or I don't know. I guess Claxton would be a guy that would benefit in that scenario, but yeah, I would probably not want to play more than 2 of those guys.
Cedric Coward, love?
No, he's returning from injury. Only played 28 minutes last time out. I like him a lot, or 25 minutes, 25 and 26. So I think he's just kind of limited right now. I don't know if you really want to pay up for somebody that's not going to crack 30 minutes.
That makes sense. All right, so let's go to the Stone. Again, we got a lot of content over at Shipping Nation. As you can see, first at the top, 5 days for $19. If you do want to check us out, great time to get in. A lot of these sports. College football is still going today. NHL is going today. PGA, the last event of the year. MMA, another great card. NFL, of course. So much going on. Again, you can get in as low as $19 using the code SHIP19. You do get Rio's core report up here, his slate plan, cash report from me. Matt, who absolutely crushed. He had a 21K hit. Ham the man on there as well. Projections, ownership. Showed on content from Little Neck Monday through Friday. But this is the Stone. It shows ownership, projections, usage. We are going to show it off for the last 2 games of the slate. Let me zoom out a little bit. There we go. Again, 2 really good ones. Lakers, Jazz, Trailblazers, and the Suns. Rio mentioned Aldama. He was the second favorite Grizzlies, so that's definitely something you can do. What's up, Desmond? Zach Edey going to smash? Rio didn't seem to like Edey too much, kind of because the minutes are capped. But, I mean, he's always someone that can get there in very little time. We'll talk FanDuel right now, Bills Mafia. We'll go game by game, and I mean, there's only a certain amount of spends on the slate, so we'll discuss that at the end. Let's go Lakers Jazz. We are looking at big favorites for the Lakers, 12.5, 238.5 total in this one. Injuries on the Lakers side. LeBron's questionable. I mean, I thought he was ruled out. Is he actually questionable?
No, he's likely to play.
Likely to play?
Yeah.
Okay, so there we go. Likely to play is LeBron on the Utah side. Kyle Anderson, Hendricks, Flipowski, all questionable. I don't know really how much that means on a 6-game slate. Again, the extra 2 games means a lot on FanDuel. So really, I'm not waiting on that Utah news. The Atlanta news will be important. But this is 2.5 hours after the Grizzlies and the Spurs game. So pretty big total, big favorites of the Lakers. LeBron's back. What are we doing?
I don't know. That the line seems kind of wide for. I mean, the Jazz are playing pretty well, and it's not like the Lakers are great. I don't think so. I kind of feel like this game has potential to stay close. Do you think that Jazz could keep it close?
I mean, you're the Jazz guy. You've been watching them a lot more. I mean, they've been playing good ball, like you said, and to be honest, I like it more with LeBron coming back in the sense of it just ruins up some timing stuff, and he has to get his legs under and. Yeah. Let's get him going. So I think that's actually a bad in the short term, obviously, for that. So, yeah, 12.5 is a big number.
Yeah, I mean, normally I would love to pick on these Jazz or the Lakers side because I love to attack the Jazz. There's with guards and centers, too, I think are pretty good against them. It's going to be a struggle to see what the usage turns out to be with LeBron back because we know that he's a guy that does command pretty high usage, but I don't know if he's really going to be doing that in his first game back. So you could make the case for Luka being a strong option at 12.5K. I think Reeves might be the guy that's a little too expensive now at 8.6. And then Ayton is another guy that could kind of see getting negatively impacted with LeBron back, just so they're not being as much chemistry with them on the court. But I think that Luka is kind of the clear guy you're looking to on the Lakers side. And then I would probably look to set a rule, like if I'm playing Laurie or Keontae, to get some of these Lakers guys, because I do think that similar to the Brooklyn stuff, like if they keep it close, it's probably in a high-scoring affair. And those are the 2 guys that you want because they're going to hit in a really big way in a close game. But I think that they're both really solid options. I mean, they're playing a lot of minutes. Keontae coming off of a huge game over the weekend. So I think they're both really, really strong options tonight. And then Collier, like at 5.1K, he's been having a really, really good role off the bench, a lot of touch time. And the assist numbers are way up. He's looking to get out there and push the pace fast whenever he gets on the court. So I like him in a scenario where he can like push up the pace and hit in a big way in limited minutes. Probably it though. I don't think that you need to go to the Ace and Filipkowski or Nurkic stuff tonight. I think there's probably better options. But I do like Laurie, Keontae, and Collier on the Jazz side tonight. Yeah,
this game really won't get too much ownership at all. One of the least owned games on the slate. You can see 12% the highest we have projected, couple in the 9s, 22% for Luka on the Lakers side. Like when we get to this next game, you can see Suns Trailblazers. This will probably be the chalkiest game on the slate. It'll be close. I think Memphis, San Antonio, Phoenix, Portland, definitely the 2 chalkiest on the slate. But that Lakers Jazz game will be pretty low owned wherever you go. All right, let's touch on that last game, the Trailblazers and the Phoenix Suns. Got to refresh again. We are looking at a 236.5 total. Portland 2.5-point favorites in this one. Injuries, Portland side, Drew Holiday is doubtful. Nothing else. Phoenix side, no Grayson Allen. Shout out Grayson Allen. Absolutely hooping this year. Helped me get second earlier. I mean, he's just the man. Get him the ball, pick and roll. He'll knock it down if you go under. If you come up, he's taking it to the rim. And he's taking it well. So I've liked him next to Booker. After that, though, the Suns team is not very appealing. But in terms of ownership, you can see Suns side, Booker, Brooks, Mark Williams, Ryan Dunn, all projecting for double digits. Trailblazer side, even more. Abdia, Grant, Kamara, Sharp. Some people are saying, who are you spending up for? Who can you spend up for on FanDuel? It's clearly not center. Like the 5K range on FanDuel with center is so strong. So you're not going there. Fox looks really strong at point guard. Shooting guard value doesn't look great. So Shaedon Sharp, Booker, like right in the same game. Both of them look pretty strong. And then power forward, I think Abdi is a pretty good spend as well on this slate. So that's kind of the guys I was looking at there. Trailblazers look strong. and the Suns pretty closely it's supposed to be a competitive game. So fire it up on all cylinders, in my opinion.
Yep, I totally agree. Phoenix or the Blazers going to bring up the pace. They're second fast-paced team in the league, so they'll definitely be playing up tempo here. But yeah, I mean the injuries to Drew on the Portland side is really big. That should put Jeremy Grant into the starting lineup. And then with no Grayson Allen, I think that Colin Gillespie is a guy that I didn't hear you mention him, but he's only 5.1K, and he's really good if he's filling in that role. Like he's a top point guard value play for me on FanDuel.
32%. So do you think he's going to start?
I don't know if he's going to start. I see the projected lineup has Dunn in there over Grayson, but he's going to play a pretty meaningful
either
role
way.
at the bench. Yeah, like he'll get up to 30 minutes probably.
Yep, definitely. And it's not sneaky. So yeah, that was a mistake on my part. Actually, the highest owned Sun on the slate we have.
Yeah, but I think he's really good. I think that you definitely want to get pieces, like probably 1 to 2 pieces of each side in this game, because I think it's going to be the one that's the most appealing and putting up the most points and the most likely to stay close. I do like all these Suns. It's really Gillespie's first, then probably Booker, Brooks, then Mark Williams. But that's also a really good price tag for Mark Williams, only 5.7K. It hasn't really had like a crazy role or like put up big points yet, fantasy wise, but we know that he does have that within his wheelhouse. I do think that he's pretty solid. And then all like the starting lineup for the Blazers, I think you definitely are like a min one of those guys, because all of them look really good. I agree with you on the Denny and Sharp stuff. Those are probably 2 of my favorite plays on FanDuel. I don't think that would probably. I'm looking to Kamara. I just don't know if he has the upside you really need there. I kind of prefer Grant a little bit more. But Klingon, another guy with high stock upside, he's only 5.3K. Pretty solid matchup. Mark Williams is a guy that we've always looked to attack in the past when he was with Charlotte. So yeah, I think that this is definitely a game you're going to want to get a lot of pieces of.
Very, like I mentioned, the really strong center range in the 5Ks. How would you rank Mark Williams 5'7", Santi 5'6"? He also has power forward eligibility. Probably more so play him there, but I'm going to include him because of the same price. So Mark 5'7", Santi 5'6", Klingon 5'3", Luke Cornett 5'1", Keita 5K.
I think I would have it Cornett, Klingon, Keita, then Santi. Actually, no, then Mark, then Santi.
Okay, yeah. If you're playing Santi, just play him at power forward.
But I mean, Klingon looks like a pretty strong pivot off Cornett. If I'm seeing the ownership correctly, I think Cornett will be the higher owned of the two. Klingon only going to be a handful, like maybe single digits. Looks pretty good.
Yeah, we're definitely light on Cornett's ownership on FanDuel. I definitely agree. I think it's going to go Cornett, then probably Keita, Mark Williams. It'll be one of those two. I think Cornett the clear one, and then it'll be those two before it gets to Klingon there. So most definitely, like you said, fits FanDuel scoring way better than DraftKings. But so does a lot of them. Mark Williams is the same way. Cornett's good everywhere, but yeah, center's strong. There's no doubt. Again, I'll be playing some 2 centers. Obviously, these last 2 games aren't included, but Cornett, Duran, possibly Muhammad, even though you could play him at power forward, Claxton, Keita, Wendell Carter, like all those will be my pool in DraftKings. I think 2 centers pretty strong. That was all 6 games. Again, on both sites, you really just don't have spends. You have Cade. You have Luka on FanDuel, so he's the other one. But with LeBron coming back, makes it a little harder to get there for me. But otherwise, Cade the only one above 10K. So I think you're just forcing a middling build, and you have pretty good options with a middling build with the Spurs stuff, some Grizzlies, and we have to watch out for news in that Hawks-Pistons game.
Yep. Thoughts on leaving salary tonight? Usually you want to spend all your salary in NBA, but I can look at the optimal lineup from last Tuesday. I believe it was the 4-game slate. Maybe not. What day was that? The 8th?
If there was ever a day to force it, I don't think really in NBA you should, especially because contests aren't like hundreds of thousands of people right now. But if there ever was a day, I think today would be the day. It's fine. If you have a lot of like 5K players that are projecting really strong, you just don't have spends that way. But I still don't love it.
Yeah, you're probably not like I wouldn't leave more than 1,000 tonight.
Yeah, like if you're setting a max, I mean, I would just go like the 49.9 probably. Like just that 100's enough, but yeah. You'd be kicking yourself. You got all your takes right, your exposures right. and it was just a 50K lineup. That was the difference. So NBA is not the sport.
Well, the optimal lineup for the last small slate that we had was a 3-gamer. It was 48-2. So I guess it is a little bit more viable than not.
It's not something you're ever doing, is it?
No.
You're not. Yeah.
That's a little too much.
Any final thoughts? Before when you're thinking of final thoughts, I mentioned 5 days for $19 using code SHIP19. Another promo code, SHIP IT, if you get over to Splash. Shout out to Splash, doing a lot of really cool things in the Survivor streets and the pick streets right here. $50, they'll deposit or they'll match your deposit. So you put in 50, they'll give you 50, and they will match 100% payout boost on your first quick picks entry. So you can use some of the stuff that Rio was talking about on the show, use some stuff on the slate plan, projections, and you can even like if you're doing the worst picks, you're flipping coins on each single pick. You have 100% payout boost and they're giving you $50. It will be plus EV long term that way. So yeah, flip a coin. You can parlay into some stuff. So shout out to Splash. Has been really awesome to us, giving back a lot of money. So yeah, that's what I got. Any final thoughts for you before we get on out of here?
No, if you're playing any of the satellites tonight, I think tomorrow is the big 888. So definitely try to get into some of those satellite streets. And yeah, the 250K to first 888. I don't think that they have. Oh, pricing's already out too. So yeah, good slate tomorrow. Definitely try to get some tickets for that one. But yeah,
good shout there. I don't think we really had any leans on the Detroit, or maybe you had one lean, but at the end of the day, it doesn't matter too much because you're not going to have more than probably 2 players, 3 max for the Magic Warriors. So you will have time to swap regardless of who's in, who's out. But did you have any leans?
No, I feel like Tobias is probably the most likely to sit. I would say Asar is probably the most likely to play, and then Cade's probably 50-50. But yeah, we'll hopefully get maybe on the 2 or the 5 p.m. injury report, we'll get that.
Cool. All right. Yeah, thank you. Good to see you, Brian. Appreciate everyone hanging out in the YouTube chat, watching live. Like button helps us out a ton on the way out. Subscribe button as well. And again, we'd love to have you at the Nation using the code SHIP19. 5 days for $19. Good luck, everybody. For Rio, I'm Title Town. Be safe. We will be back tomorrow. Peace.